Oh, hey Gabby. Hey Lisa. It dropped. My internet dropped. Maybe it's better that it dropped. Maybe I should stop talking about all of this. Maybe it's not good to talk about all of this. The thing is I don't have anybody to fucking talk to other than the dogs. And then like the few people that I talk to on the phone, you know? So it's kind of crazy. But hey Casey, how are you? Sorry about the ouch. My thing dropped. Lisa, you're 3333, aren't you? Do you want a charming for the month of April? Or do you want it next week? Sorry guys, hey Jen Nichols, my internet sucks at night. Part of the reason why I didn't do any charmings or anything last for like the last week or whatever was because I had that new roommate here and it was just sort of like awkward having him here and talking is good, Amy Jo. I know. Amy Jo on Kastner says talking is good. Sometimes talking to strangers. This is the thing. Like I'm in a house by myself. I had my friend move in for a few days, and that was awkward as all get out. He's a good friend. He's a good person, but it was just weird. Like the energy was off between him and I. We were arguing and bickering, and I felt like I was. It just wasn't working, and I needed my space back. Um, but I don't know. Like I don't know. So somebody was talking about the cards for this week, and one of the cards was the throat chakra. We also had the sacral chakra, which is the emotion center. So I need to work on my emotions later, like this week, if not later on this week. I think the problem is I do really care for him, and I don't know how to do that in a detached manner. All the alone times driving you bananas, Casey. Hey, Karma Grace, how are you? Hey, Nate. So I don't know. I think that I need to. I don't know. Like it's funny. I don't know what I need to do. To be honest, I don't know. I think the thing is too is like I kind of like was in this place of thinking that I was just gonna be single for the rest of my life. I was like hitting 47. I've not had a lot of long-term relationships. I've had maybe two 1-year relationships, if that. And then like one was a little bit longer than a year, and then I was married for a little bit longer than a year, but they were just over a year. And so I don't have a lot of long-term relationship experience, and so I don't know how to like sort of settle into something. Not that this would be something that I would settle into immediately, right? This is sort of the getting to know somebody's phase, but I can't even get to know him because it's like I don't have access. Destiny says I need to find myself again. I feel so detached from the universe. Sally Smith says don't be so sad. Don't be sad. I'm trying not to be. You got to remember too, though. I'm a Pisces. My sadness isn't necessarily a bad thing. Like to me, it sort of lets me know where I'm at. And sometimes when I cry, I feel like sometimes I cry. To me, it's a release. It allows me to find my answers. It allows me to sort of get shit off my chest, and then I can kind of get on to getting on. I also am a firm believer that this truest form of strength is found in vulnerability. When you can be vulnerable with somebody and you can trust them like that, um, or you can trust yourself enough to be vulnerable, that's true strength. But, you know, I can't say that I trust just about everyone. I think I trust myself for the most part. But, like, in this sort of a situation, when I go and I don't know, it's this fine line of like, maybe I'm just too much for him. And that's what it is. And that's okay. It's too bad. Like, it bums me out because I liked him. But if my tears are too much for him, I shouldn't have to disavow that. Or if my fears are too much for him or too soon for him, then maybe I'm not the right one. And that's just something I have to be okay with. Oh, thank you, Jen Nichols. She says you're not too much for me. But that's because we share so many planets, Jen. So does anybody else want a charming? Any of my 3333s? Do you guys want to knock out your April charmings? It might not be right timing, Nate. You're probably right about that too. He says that a lot. He's like, he's like, I've got a lot going on, blah blah blah. You're very important to me. You're very special to me, but I want to be special now. Like, I'm like that bitch from Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, Veruca. I want a golden goose now, Daddy, now. Like, I like him. I'm like, I wanna get on to getting on. Like, I wanna have fun. I want to partner in crime. I wanna explore and play. And he makes me, I don't know, he makes me excited, and but then he also makes me scared at the same time. So, go fucking figure. I know the pattern's kicking my ass, Jen Nichols. It's kicking my ass. If you guys don't know what the pattern is, you guys should find the app, the pattern. Download it to your phone, put in your birthday, and then friend me at Engelgeist 333. It tells you all about some crazy shit about what you're dealing with and the cycles that you're in. And I'm in a cycle called Facing Your Fears right now on the pattern. So it makes sense to me why I'm this kind of like bubbly mess, but does it make sense to him? Maybe not. I know, let him figure it out. I told you the pattern would spook you, girl. And they're gonna start messaging you and shit. When you're going through shit, you're gonna have like a post on your phone from the pattern, and you're like, oh, fuck you. I was gonna tell him about the pattern, but I didn't want to like get him all like geeked out on it. It is fire, I know, Jen. Jen's like fire. So yeah, if you guys don't have the pattern, check it out. There's also another app called CoStar, which is a really cool astrology app that talks about sort of what we go through and why. Does anybody else want anybody that's either one of my 3333 subscribers from YouTube, or does anybody from Patreon, or does anybody want to purchase a charming? If not, I am going to sign off because I need to go probably cry some more. The one good thing is this is keeping me from checking my phone, even though I'm checking it right now, but I'm not checking his messages because I know that he's not looking at my messages. He has it all day because he's like, I don't want to deal with this right now. I'll deal with it later, because he's very calm and collected, which I think is very sexy. But when I want him to talk to me, it's not very sexy. It drives me crazy. And then I look even kookier because I just need him to tell me it's okay. I know, I'm gonna take a hot bubble bath, Amy Jo. Sally Smith, the pattern is this website. It's really kind of cool. It is this, and Sean, I see your messages coming through. I'm just not reading them because I don't want to get caught in those while I'm doing that, but I will respond to them after. Um, it looks like this. It's a little black wave, and it's a free app, and you put in your birthday, and you can, oh, it's a mess. You can, you put in your birthday, where you were born, all that, and it tells you like the different patterns that you're in your life. You can even put in certain dates as to what was going on during that time in your life. And then like for me, and this is kind of stalkery, but whatever, you can create a person in the pattern. So I created one for him. bad, I know. But he knows that about me. Like I pulled his whole horoscope in the beginning, and he knows that. So I don't think that that's a big secret. But I made a pattern, and I made one for him just to see what his pattern was about, to see if we were compatible. And when you go and you add you and that other person, you can say early stages of the relationship. And it says here, I'm not going to use his name, but it says, there's a part of you that's exactly what he wants and expects from a partner. At times, you and him might be especially affected and provoked by each other, or it could seem difficult for you and him to be truly yourselves, so you both hide what you feel. So I'm trying not to hide what I feel, but he might be. Oh, and then it says, with him, I'm using him instead of his name. It may feel like you've always known each other and have history together. It's almost as if you've been intimate before, which makes being together feel incredibly natural and intoxicating. And the funny thing is the minute I met him, I felt like I had known him forever. I don't know. Oh, you possess qualities that are extremely attractive to him. In a certain way, you represent his ideal. But then I go and I squawk about, like, I miss you. I need to talk to you. Call me. And then he's like, I can't. I'm busy. And then I take it personally. I take it like this. I must not be important enough. And that's me. I know that's fucking me and my insecurities. But I just want to fucking talk to him. But I can't. And I've spent this whole hour just talking about him. This is stupid. So it's called The Pattern, and then you guys can find me on there, Engelgeist 333, and you can compare me and you guys, like your signs and where your planets are in the patterns you're in. It will show you who you're in similar patterns with. And you can add people, but you have to know their whole birth times and dates and everything. I happen to know all of his information. He gave it to me when I asked him if I could run his horoscope. So he knows I'm a little bit of a creep like that. But he's creepy in his own way too. Trust me, he's a little bit of a creep too. But I like that about him. Oh, I just need to have faith. I need to have faith. I need to ask the angels to please make me stronger, make me more capable. I've been asking them for this. And then I think I take it back. I get scared again. The problem is too is I think I'm under a lot of, I mean, everybody's under a lot of stress. I'm not trying to only talk about me, but this pandemic has me under so much stress, and I get really forgetful when I get stressed. And I get to this place where I forget what it was like being with him, and it felt so good to be with him. When I like reflect back on it, being like physically in his presence felt really good. Like physically in my body, I felt like, I don't know, like just really nice. That's why I want to hold him. Like I want to see what that feels like, right? And I want to hold his hand. I want to hold him. I want to hug him. I want to put my fucking nose in his neck. Really bad. But I don't think he feels the same way. Like that's what I'm afraid of. His actions don't tell me that he feels the same way. And I think that's where I get fearful. And I had an experience once like that in one of my longer relationships where I was with this guy for like about a year and we were dating, and he just thought we were casual. Like we had a fight one night, like a year into it, in his, not a big fight, but just a like back and forth bicker argument. And he said something about, I said something about us dating, and he's like, "What do you mean we're dating?" And I was like, "What do you mean we're dating? I sleep over here like 3 or 4 nights a week, or we're at each other's houses, like." We make dinner together. We watch TV on the couch. We fuck. We fight. We like. What do you mean we're not dating? It's been a year. And he's like, oh. Like he thought we were like fuck buddies or something. That like fucking wrecked me. I was like, I don't know how old I was, like 27 when that happened. And I was just like, whoa, we were on such different pages, me and this guy that I had been spending like a lot of time with. And so I fear that with this person, that maybe I'm somewhere that he's not. And then he does tell me I'm special to him, but I don't know what special might mean in his dictionary. I wouldn't want just a fuck bud, Casey Ray says. Well, to me, it was this crazy thing where I had been dating this guy and I really liked him. And like, I thought he really liked me. Like, we were spending all this time together. And like, he was calling me and telling me, come over. I want you to stay the night, blah, blah, blah. Stay here, blah, blah, blah. This, that, and the other. He would come over to my house sometimes, but I had a roommate. So it was always better to go to his house. And we would spend like at least 3 to 4 nights a week at each other's houses. And so, and it went on for a year, over a year, and I thought like that we were a couple, but I mean, and we would go out like to the movies, to dinner, to like bars and clubs and shit together, and I found out that's not what he thought I was, and that just kind of broke my heart. I and I I don't know if I loved him. Like I definitely had strong, strong feelings for him. It hurt like a motherfucker. Like I was like, whoa, I am totally not in the same universe as you are right now. So I don't know, I think that I fear that in everything that I do. Because this is the thing, a Pisces trait for me, and I have also a Pisces Venus, which means I love like a Pisces too. We're very imaginative and dreamy and daydreamy, and we can see sort of like these big picture things and create these sort of fantasies in our head that are sometimes better than reality. And that's my fear, is that like I could be creating some whole fantasy that maybe doesn't exist. So that's why I go to him and I say, hey, like can you talk to me, or can we spend time together on the phone or whatever. And I know he can't always afford that or do that, but it's like I guess part of me needs that for reassurance because of my past. And I tell people in readings all the time, oh, don't go back to your past, don't live from your past. And I guess I'm doing that. So, and then the other time I was married to a woman, I was a whole hot mess. It wasn't a hot mess. We loved each other, but I was married to a woman at 22. That lasted almost a year and a half. And we got divorced. So, I haven't had a very strong relationship track record. And I think that makes him nervous. And then me being all fearful doesn't probably help things. So, it is what it is. Are we still friends? Who, me and my wife? Wait, what is it? Heidi Ray says, my relationship was 4 years long distance through the worst times, including through his cancer treatment. I seriously can't believe it's over. Shit's unbelievable. So have to believe it's for a reason. Right? Casey Ray says, oh, I have a horrible relationship track record too. I don't think that it's horrible. It's just limited. Like, I've done the best that I could with what I've been given. I also grew up in San Francisco, which was full of like gay men that wanted to have sex all the time, but nobody wanted to settle down. And in my 20s, I sport fucked like a bunch of people, dated people, like, messed around with them and maybe had sex with them and went out to dinner with them and stuff. But it was nothing very serious, where it was long term, serious, monogamous, San Francisco is a funky town for that. It's not easy to find. I feel like it wasn't easy to find monogamy in when you're in your 20s and 30s in San Francisco in a town full of a bunch of gay men that will fuck you you know, for dinner. That sounds so callous, but and then also that was the other thing too is like there was tons of people that wanted to have open relationships. There was all of these people that had these relationships that they were open, and so I didn't want any of that bullshit. Like, might as well just be single. Why have an open relationship? That doesn't make sense to me. I mean, it's not. I don't judge it, but it's just not necessarily what I wanted either. And so I pursued it for a long time in my 20s, but every time I got together with somebody, either I liked them too much or they didn't like me enough, or vice versa. They liked me too much and I didn't like them that much. So like I had little 6 month things here and 6 month things there, but they never really quite panned out. Same with Seattle. Most cities are like that. Most major cities are like filled with all sorts of opportunities for people to sleep with and not necessarily settle down with. And I felt like this too with the gay community in San Francisco. People that did get married and settle down, they would move to the suburbs like Oakland or outside of the city. So you didn't necessarily have role models for long-term relationship couples around hanging out in the bar scene, and you would go to the bar scene because that was the social place to meet other gay men your age. But most people in the bars are looking to get laid. So it was like that was kind of my experience. I don't think it has anything to do with me. Well, I mean, it does have something to do with me because I didn't necessarily. I was enjoying getting laid, and I wasn't. I was kind of okay on my own. I've always sort of been. I've been a solo, like, single child, so I don't necessarily need a partner. Um, I've never defined myself as having ever really needed one to survive. And I don't even need him right now to survive. I know I will survive this. I just sort of was excited by the idea of him. And that's the part that I don't want to let go of, I think, maybe. I mean, I don't want to let go of him. Like, I wanted to get to know him. He seemed kind of interesting and exciting and cool, and his energy was great, and you know, but, you know. And then I feel like he thinks something's wrong with me because I don't have relationship experience, or he's not said that something is wrong with me, but he says it worries him. And so, but that to me says, or it sounds to me like, okay, well that must, if it worries you, then you must think something's wrong. So it's okay for you to have those worries, but I'm not allowed to have my worries around whether or not I'm safe. I don't know. I don't know. It doesn't matter. I should just stop talking about this. Yeah, Sean says nope, nobody wants a long-term relationship. It's true. In like the cities, it's hard to fucking find, I think. I mean, go to Manhattan, Los Angeles, fucking Chicago, Seattle, San Francisco. You're gonna have a hard time finding a boyfriend. It's just that way. There's too many gay men slutting around that it's hard to find a committed boyfriend, I think. So you're saying I need to go to a bar, lol, JK. I don't want LA, I just want to be fucking made. Live to so I can pleasure myself until then, right? Donna says, hope all is well with the quarantine for everyone. Well, we're all commiserating over bad love lives, Donna. And Destiny says, open relationships I've seen always end up a hot mess. I just don't understand the point. I want to be with somebody that I want to be with, right? That they turn me on and excite me so much that, like, they're the one. You know, that to me, I'm that kind of a romantic. I'm a total fucking romantic in that way. And I haven't met that person yet, right? That gets me that excited. That's part of the reason also. Like, the guy that thought we were just fuck buddies, I was excited about. He was this big rugby player. He was smart and, well, sort of smart. But he was beautiful and lovely. He was a bit of a drinker. I didn't like that part about him, but it was okay. Like I could have dealt with it. I loved that he played rugby. I would go with him to his rugby fundraisers. I loved hanging on his arm. You know, I felt like he was proud of me. I was proud of him. Like I thought we were in such a different place than we actually were. And so I think that kind of spooked me off of relationships for a good while. So, anyways. Uh-oh, he's flipped the switch in you, Casey. Be careful. That's the thing too, is like I feel like if I'm dedicated to somebody, I would be really super dedicated to them. Like I know that about me, and I know that I have the capacity to do that, and I know that I have the capacity to be a very loving, kind, caring individual to somebody. Um, but I sometimes think that that might just be too much for people, or it might be too intense. I know. Do you can hear her? That's Tallulah snoring, Sean. Look at this bitch. Hold on. Look, she knows the camera's on her. She just looked at me. She knows the camera's on her. You were just snoring logs, girl. Don't give me that dirty look. That was the other thing that I was afraid of too with this guy, is I was afraid that he wouldn't like my animals. It was another like sort of thing that I was nervous about, because he doesn't have any pets, and I have a lot of pets. And I was just sort of like, that was another thing in the back of my mind. I was like, oh my God, what if he came here and he saw that I was a single mother of 6, and he was just like, oh my God, your pets are out of control. I guess I was just, I don't know. He said he liked, you know, animals, but it's one thing to say you like animals and then not have any. I don't know if I, you know, trust that. So, I am a worrywart. Destiny Smith says the romance that her and her man have is a weird kind of romance. I'd go for weird. I'm cool with weird. I want like secret language romance. I want like telepathic, fucking connected, be able to wink at each other from across the room at a busy party and know what we're saying to each other kind of romance. I want to have that kind of a bond with somebody. If I'm gonna go for it, that's what I want. I don't, you know, I want to have like inside jokes and true intimacy. That's what I want. I don't know if I'm gonna get it ever, but that's what I want. Lisa says they've gotta love my animals, just saying. It's kind of true. I mean, because the dogs, until they pass away, they're not going anywhere. Like, they're my family. So. Well, this hasn't been. God, this convo is dope. Thank you, Casey. I don't know. I don't know. I hope I didn't mess it all up. But I might have. And I think that, like, to be honest, I think that I might be somewhere that he's not. And that's the part that intuitively I think might be bugging me. Because, like, I'm more expressive than he is, and the reason why I might be more expressive is because maybe he doesn't feel the same way. You know, like, he might feel something, but not as much as I feel. And so when I don't get those expressions back, or those sort of acknowledgments back, then I start to get into that fear. And then I let that fear take over, and then I'm like, okay, I need to walk, I need to go, I need to quit this. And then he's just like, fuck, okay, fine, quit. Like, I don't know what to tell you. And I probably shouldn't even be having this conversation online like this. Like, it's probably not appropriate, actually. He may not appreciate it. I actually took him off of all my social media because I was mad at him for taking me off of his Instagram. That was a little extreme, I think. But the other thing is like, I don't want to see his face. If he's not interested, or if he's not there with me, I need to not see his face. Oh, thank you, Ivana. I love you too. Now, I think this conversation has been good for me too because it gets me back online. I feel like I haven't been online. I feel like I've been sort of disconnected from you guys. I feel like I've been really alone and up in my head a lot. Um, I miss him a lot. We were like video chatting and doing more in the beginning of the month, and that sort of just stopped. And I guess I did something at the when I said some stuff about fearful stuff at the full moon, which was an emotional time for me. He said I think that freaked him out, and so then for the last few weeks or whatever, he's been pulled back, and so and I've just been picking up on it. So I said something again last night, and now it's toast. I've burnt the toast. Awesome, Ivana. Watch it and go deeper. It's helped for me to sort of sort things out a little bit. Like, I'm gonna have to work really hard at not checking my messages to see if he responds. Because when I check and I see that he hasn't responded, like, literally my heart hurts. And I know that that doesn't mean anything. Like, logically, my mind knows that, like, he's probably just taking space and time and doing, like, the more logical, grounded thing. But there's this fear that jumps in my heart of, like, oh my god, maybe he's never gonna talk to me again. My dad died without talking to me. And so that fear of being abandoned or whatever fucking feels real. Because it's like what I learned from that situation is that sometimes if you don't take the opportunities that are given to you, you sometimes don't get them back. And so when my dad passed away, he passed away without any of us getting a chance to say goodbye to him. Even my own grandmother. Like, and he passed away angry at me because we had had a fight 2 years prior, and I think that it was a whole nother thing. It's not important, but he chose to be angry at me so that I wouldn't try and come to Montana and help him with his cancer. And then one day I was at work and I got a phone call that he was dead. And so, God, all this shit is up for me, guys. I need to get offline. I'm sorry. This is like too much for anybody, including myself, let alone you guys. But, you guys, I'll be back on again, hopefully this week, to try and do a Triple H hour. Who knows? Maybe I'll be the one that needs some help. But thank you for tuning in, and I'll talk to you guys later. Have a good night.